Aristotle Full Throttle here, and hello. What's up, everybody on Instagram? What's up, everybody on YouTube? Aristotle Full Throttle here, and today we are talking about movies, because what do we do every day? Pretty much talk about movies. Every day at noon Pacific Standard Time. Today, this week, this month, these last few months have been trying. We've been trying so hard. We've been trying to get through these months. At first, it was just a matter of saying how good we could be at staying at home. How good. How difficult it is to find resolve. And I think maybe perhaps we've been in training. What's up, Jimmy James? Maybe we've been in training this whole time. Maybe we've been testing our will and our strength and building it up and building up willpower. And now we've got all of this resolve and strength that we could take it to the streets and explode. Explode in a protest. I'm very concerned about the state of the country. I saw something this morning, and even The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, even The Rock is concerned about the state of the country, the state of the world. I think it's important that we recognize The Rock. Can we all just pour one out for The Rock? I hear you. Rook 6 Sniper. It's been tough. This has been a tough situation we've all been in, guys. We've been tested a few times these last few months. One is, okay, everybody stay home. Try not to get sick. Try not to die. All right, we could do that. We got better at it as we went. Hey, Kelsey, how are you? Everybody get a coffee and cozy up. We're going to talk about The Rock today. Rock movies, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the inspiring figure, the inspiring person, the icon that is The Rock. The man is he's at least 7 feet tall. I think he's 7 feet tall. He's 475 pounds of just solid granite. There's not muscle there. It's granite. He eats pebbles. He eats fruity pebbles for breakfast, but they're like actual pebbles. He goes in a gravel yard or a quarry, and he bites. Remember the rock biter from the Neverending Story? That's The Rock's father. That's his biological father. The rock biter. The Rock is made of pure goodness in general. I mean, I haven't heard a bad story about that guy. You know what The Rock is cooking. You know why? Because you could smell it. Unless you're a jabroni. If you're a jabroni, he ain't got time for that. He was 1 second shy of calling. He was looking for a leader today. He was on Twitter today, The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne. Who's going to call him Dwayne? He was on Twitter all day today talking about where's the leader at? We don't got no leader right now. The Rock is a good leader. I'll tell you why. The Rock comes into these sequels of movies like G.I. Joe and all of these. He shows up when a movie franchise is failing. And he's like, let me show you how it's done. I will fix this movie franchise. He shows up during the Fast and the Furious and makes it better. The Rock shows up and makes things better. This is true. He also eats rocks for breakfast. He has corrugated steel for abs. The Rock is a cross between. What is The Rock a cross between? His father, who was also Rocky, and also the rock biter. His father and the rock biter had a baby. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome, Aristotle Full Throttle, 5 days a week, noon. We're talking about The Rock today and The Rock movies and why he's so great and why his movies are great. And we need a strong, powerful figure. And you know what the thing is? The current president tries to project this image of power and strength, but he's really just a big crybaby. Here's the dynamics of how that works. When someone sucks, like the president, and then tries to pretend they're strong by tear gassing crowds of peaceful protesters, or at least throwing smoke bombs into them and breaking up the crowds and showing force. A show of force is not a show of strength. We should make that distinction right now. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson walks down the street, and his arms are made of actual, like, they're retired cranes for like moving rubble. You ever see like a junkyard? Those are just his arms. He lends them out on the weekends to crush cars. He worked I haven't seen the Jumanji movies yet. I downloaded them though. Don't tell anybody I downloaded them. I'm going to watch them. I'm very excited to. This is awesome. Rukik Sniper said his birthday, or their birthday, I don't know if it's a he or she, is the same as The Rock's. You know why? Because The Rock's birthday is so big, it's every day. Every day we celebrate The Rock's birthday. Oh, I'm telling you, this is gonna get funny at some point. And I'm just gonna wait here for that to happen. Hopefully you do too. Yeah, a show of force is not a show of strength. The current president, hi mom, the current president is not a strong man. He's a giant baby. Someone said the other day, why he hiding out in the bunker in the White House? All these protesters are outside demanding for justice. And what does this guy do? He hides underneath the White House. And then some people are saying, I hear things, some are saying that the president, well, you know, the Secret Service, they told him to go in the basement. They told the Secret Service, the president's got to do what the Secret Service. That's BS, guys. A peaceful protesting crowd is not something to hide in the basement about. It's a crowd to address. You need to talk to the people like The Rock did this morning, asking, pleading, begging. Look, I'm The Rock. I am literally the second tallest mountain on Earth. Besides, there's Mount Everest, there's The Rock, and then there's K2. Rock is right in between them. And he punched Mount Everest in the stomach once. Just kidding, The Rock doesn't punch, he body slammed it. Flaming hot fascists literally put up with the extra gate in front of the White House. Obama didn't do that when people broke into where his family slept at night. It is insanity. If you are the leader of the free world, you address the people. You talk to the people. You unite the people. You find our common ground. The Rock is asking for that this morning on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw that, but you guys can Google it. Google The Rock on Twitter. And he was saying how, look, guys, if there's a time to be a leader, it's now. The United States is kind of shaky. It's on shaky ground. And who better to address this right now than the guy who comes in to fix things like The Rock? He comes in to fix sequels. He'll show up, make your franchise better. You know what The Rock needs to do? He needs to run for president, show up, and make the country better. He needs to be the ringer that he is for the movies, but for the real life. Because what we need now more than anything is like actually somebody who can bring us together. What is your favorite Rock movie? Let me know. I want to see the movie where he's got the one leg, because I think it's hilarious that The Rock is so ginormous. He's a giant man, 7'4". He's a man of legend. I think it's 7'4". He is in a movie where they gave him like a a disability. He's got one leg, or he's differently abled in that movie. And it's only because you can't watch a movie with The Rock and not think that he can just win everything all of the time. You look at this guy and you're like, well, he's clearly going to just beat everybody up. Let's give him a wooden leg so that he has, not a wooden leg, but, you know, a prosthetic limb, so that we can be like, oh, well, maybe there's a chance that he will not be awesome. Or not that you're not awesome if you have one leg, because you're all awesome with one leg, no legs, 2 legs, 4 legs. However many legs you have, you matter and you are awesome. But The Rock, you know, they're trying to give him some kind of disadvantage because in this movie, I guess he does a lot of running. And they were like, well, let's see how well you run The Rock with a CG prosthetic limb. But no, he still beats everybody up. The Rock in the Kevin James movie. Is that Paul Blart Mall Cop The Rock 2? Skyscraper, yes. Why is The Rock so great? Why is he so charismatic? Why do we like him so much? Is it because that he literally eats nails for a snack? But like not regular nails, like railroad like ties. Those giant spikes. He chews on them. He uses them to clean his teeth. He's giant. Vin Diesel is so mad because he literally started a movie called The Pacifier. That's hilarious. Vin Diesel, mark my words, is going to be a huge star someday. Low-key enjoyed Skyscraper. I want to see Skyscraper. You know, I just think it's pretty funny. One of the things I was reading about The Rock on his Twitter, on his Instagram, he said he's very inspirational. You guys should follow him. It's very funny. I always like his Kevin Hart movies where they're always playing off each other and how funny. Yeah, Popcorn Passport says The Rock is 6'5", 275 pounds. It's 270 pounds. Popcorn Passport has met The Rock 3 times. And you know what? You need to meet The Rock 3 times to meet all of The Rock because he's so big. I met his arm once. Took like half a day. His arm's a giant. I talked to his tattoos. He's a giant man. He's a wall of person and personality. He's actually a strong dude because you know what he did in that speech that he said this morning? He stood there looking like pretty much, you know, what would you say? He looked like a Sherman tank. But he said very gently and peacefully, we need someone who's strong right now. And you're looking at this guy and you're like, he could take somebody, snap them in two, and then throw them in separate directions. Those two halves of the body will go around the earth and hit each other on the other side. That's how strong he is. I can't wait till he's in that Black Adam movie. See, the funny thing about the Black Adam movie is that Black Adam is a superhero in the DC movie universe. Obviously, he is Shazam's arch nemesis. Black Adam has all of the powers of Shazam. But they don't even have to CG that in the movie because The Rock already has all of the powers of Shazam and Black Adam combined. That's a fact. He already has those powers. They literally just staple a cape to his trapezius muscles so that like he looks like a superhero, but he'll already smash you. Remember the Hulk? That was a baby picture of The Rock. Yeah. I do want to see the Black Adam movie. He's already signed on to play Black Adam. He's going to be the arch nemesis of Shazam. I didn't hate Shazam. I just didn't think it was that great. The only thing I didn't like about the movie Shazam, the DCEU movie that came out last year, it was fun and it was cute. However, and I definitely would have enjoyed it if I was like 6 or 7 years old. I would have been like, this is the greatest movie ever. I think though, the one thing that I just didn't really buy was like the guy who played Shazam as the kid version, because Shazam has the power. He's like a little kid, and he says the word Shazam, and he turns into another actor wearing a Shazam costume, but they're supposed to be the same character. So he's supposed to be the young boy, but embodied in this giant, strong superhero. And they were both good. Both the actor who played the boy version and the actor who played the Shazam version. However, I did not believe that they were the same person. So that was the one drawback. I enjoyed both sides of the personality, but I think when he turned into Shazam, that actor was a little bit over the top. Or the younger version could have been a little bit more over the top, but the younger version was a little bit more real and present, whereas the older version was like over the top and didn't really feel like that. Zachary Levi is problematic AF. Who's Zachary Levi? Did I miss that out? Am I talking about Zachary Levi and not knowing who it is? Because Zachary Levi, yeah, oh yeah, that actor. See, I don't know his name. I just know that he was that guy on the TV. He was on that show, Chuck. I worked with some actors from that show, actually. Why is he problematic? What did he do? What did he do? But I'll tell you, they don't even have to give The Rock any of those famous powers that Shazam has. The Rock already has those powers. He embodies them in his personality, is what I'm trying to say. That dude was like, listen, it wasn't the greatest speech that he gave this morning, but it was just honest. His phone started ringing in the middle of it. And then The Rock just he flexed his eye muscle, and then the phone exploded. He just went like this. He winked at it and it just melted. I'm trying to say how unbelievably strong he is. One of the funny things on his Instagram is The Rock said he's like, if my opponent gets up at 6 a.m. just to get the edge, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and train twice as hard. If they get up at 4 a.m., well, screw that. I am not getting up at 3 a.m. That's stupid. Funny. That's hilarious. Jaffe Mustafa saw The Rock high-five the moon once. The man in the moon is really just like The Rock headbutted the moon, and that's just a face print. He put a face print on the moon. That's right, Jaffe Mustafa. We need a leader. Things are falling apart right now. Things need to come back together. But I call BS on anybody who says, well, the president needed to go down into the bunker underneath the White House because the Secret Service told him. Come on. He's the president. He's the president. He could get on a TV. He can get on his cell phone. He could tweet about it. He could address that crowd. He could get on a camera. He could stand there in front of bulletproof glass and give a speech and actually unite people. But he doesn't, because we don't have a leader right now. We have a whiner and a baby in the White House. What The Rock needs to do is lift up the current president and place him in a stroller and then kick that stroller and see how far it goes. It'll just stroll all down the street. The Rock once screamed in Braille. Yeah. Actually, when The Rock flexes his back muscles, it's got if you could read Braille, it's actually the United States Constitution in Braille. Just his back muscles. He's a strong man. Patriotic. American. The Rock is our only hope, is what I'm saying. Right, 13? Right, Charles Stroh? What's up, Chuck? How are you? We're just talking about how we need a leader right now. And we don't have one. So what we're doing is we're going to try to get The Rock not only in more sequels, not only as Black Adam, but we're going to elect him as president. I'm going to write him in on the ballot. The Rock. Hopefully that works. But the DCEU, I mean, we work in the film industry. Our friend Charles over here, he knows, he's a sound man. The film industry is closed right now. So we got to figure out alternate ways to do things. We have to figure out how we're going to move forward. We have to figure out how we're going to move forward as a society, not only as just separate industries and the world. We're dealing with so many crises right now. We've got a pandemic. Imagine there's like a pandemic and like incredible social unrest at the same time that you have the worst leader in American history and at the same time the worst economy since the Great Depression. Imagine that's all happening at once. And now open your eyes and look around, because you're in that right now. And it might be anxious. You might feel anxious right now. I feel anxious. You might feel anxious too. We all feel the anxiety. But what we need to do is realize that there are some sane people in this world. And we have to breathe deeply, and we have to come together, and we have to share all of the things that we enjoy about the principles of this country, and really do a little thing every day. Do a little thing every day that makes the world a better place. And however you do that will be valued and recognized. And know that you are making a difference. Know that every little thing that you do to protect yourself from spreading this virus, to actually promote freedom, justice, equality, to recognize your fellow citizen of the planet Earth as equal. Every little thing that you do over time will build up and will affect change. I think so. K-Ferg, what's up? How are you? Good to see you. There isn't a bad story about The Rock. If you've got a bad story about The Rock, it's probably that The Rock is just too cool. You know what? There's just... The only bad story about The Rock that I have is there are no bad stories about The Rock. I'm telling you, perfect candidate. Running mate for he is so big. The Rock is so giant. He can run for president and vice president at the same time. He's on both. He's on the top and the bottom of the ticket. He's too big. I learned everything I know about music from The Rock, and he doesn't even play music. That's how influential he is. Wow, my TikTok is blowing up right now. I don't understand. I'm getting a lot of notifications, guys. If you want to go on TikTok and we can connect there, my TikTok is my first and my last name, at Aristotle Dreyer. His bicep could run for president. That's true. He's like, here's your president, here's your vice president. I don't know, why don't you ask one of my guns? That's what he's going to say. You know, we're one step closer to President Camacho, but we need President The Rock. Right now, we've got President Camacho in mind, but not in mind and body. I mean, The Rock is basically, yeah. President Camacho would be an improvement. Now, you guys all remember Idiocracy. President Camacho, played by Terry Crews, probably the most memorable. One of Terry Crews' most memorable roles. That was the first role he was cast in, like a larger role, after he was in the movie Training Day, which he just showed up on set for. We're talking about Terry Crews. We're building a cabinet right now. The Rock for president and vice president, and Terry Crews as the chief of staff. I think we're getting somewhere, guys. I think we're building a really good future for this country. Hey, Aji, Lestrange, happy Friday, everybody. You're watching Aristotle Full Throttle. We're just chatting. We're getting it all out. We're getting our feelings out. I want to know how you guys are feeling right now. I know we're all feeling complex emotions. So many things are true at the same time right now. You know, what's true at the same time? We have a pandemic. And we should stay at home, and we should isolate, or at least stay distant from one another. But what's also true is there's incredible social injustice happening in our system. So we need to get to the street and actually protest. So if you go to the streets and you want to go into crowds, do the best you can to protect yourself and others. Cover your face with a mask. Stay 6 feet away if you can. I did the other day. I was in one of the marches. I've been participating, trying to show support. And I was in a group and stayed 10, 15 feet away from the main area, and really never got very close to anybody. Did not spend more than 45 minutes to an hour marching with everybody, because it's also one of the things you could do to keep yourself safe: stay distant, wear a face covering, and don't spend too long around too many people. These are the things you can do to actually mitigate the spread of the virus. But you should also, if you believe that inequality, if you believe that we're all the same, we're all different actually, and we should appreciate the differences. But if you believe that we're all due the same rights, that we're all due the same treatment under the eyes of the law and the system, please show your support by doing what you can daily. Little things help, they add up. Jaffe Mustafa points out that The Rock does his own dental work. It's very true. The Rock does his own dental work. The Rock, I mentioned earlier, eats fruity pebbles for breakfast, but it's actual like pebbles that he has quarried from a ravine, and he eats that. That's his breakfast. The Rock eats 57 dozen eggs for lunch because he needs to maintain his mass. Might as well. It's not like we have a criteria for being president these days. You're absolutely right, 13. The Rock, I think, would provide the leadership we need. You know, a lot of people say, well, I voted for Trump because I liked his economic policy. You can't vote for somebody on one issue. You got to look at the whole picture. Trump was clearly a racist. He clearly is dividing the country actively instead of working to unite it like The Rock is. You know, The Rock, if he wanted to, he could literally take the country and smush it together. But he wants to do this peacefully. The president said, president hasn't said anything, but people who voted for the president are like, I voted for him for his economic issues. I don't really care about the social issues. Which really says to people who are black and brown in America, people of color, it's when they say, oh, I didn't really vote for him on his social agenda because he doesn't have one, this president. I voted for him for his economic policies. But guess what? You vote for a guy because of unilateral thinking. You don't see the big picture of what it is to be a president, which you do have to address public health concerns like the coronavirus, which the president has. Listen, he's got an F, a D- at best on his handling of this coronavirus situation. He has definitely failed us so far in any type of attempt to unite us. So what you've done now is voted for a guy because I like his economic policies in theory, although everything he does actively shows me that he's a complete sociopath and narcissist and does not give a crap about people and will not do anything to affect social change for the positive. Well, guess what? You just created an avalanche of garbage that also affected the economy, and now the economy is in the tank because the dude is completely incapable and inept, and we need to get rid of him. That is a matter of fact. It's not even like my opinion at this point. The society is crumbling because of bad leadership, and we need leadership, and that's the point of what I'm trying to say. But The Rock, he alone can do it. Speaker of the House. Who would be the Speaker of the House? I say we get Randy Macho Man Savage as Speaker of the House. I know that he is resting in paradise right now, Mr. Macho Man Savage. But you know what? Randy Macho Man Savage would be the perfect Secretary of State going to different countries. I'm going to tell you, Putin. I'll snap you at... Oh, yeah. That guy. I haven't worked on my impression of him, but it's once it starts, you probably can't stop. There's a guy on TikTok who does a great impression. Anyway, I think that we need to show compassion. We need to show care. We need to engage with everybody. The cops on the street, they're not doing the best job necessarily. The ones who are doing a great job are showing, hey, look, this is a peaceful protest. We're here in case anything gets out of hand. Let's unite, though, over the same point that the system's broken. Cops need to recognize that, too. You can't just sit there and go hide behind being a cop or being a part of the system and just saying, well, that's the way things are. It just always has been this way, and maybe this time it's going to change. Who knows? Speaker of the House. Yeah. Worst president ever. Kevin Hart should be the Speaker of the House. Ooh, good one, Kayleen. Yeah, I think that Kevin Hart should be the Speaker of the Mouse. I don't think he would be that upset if I said that. I made a joke about his height. Kevin Hart and The Rock are hilarious together. That would be the ticket, though, really. Kevin Hart, it would be The Rock for president, Kevin Hart for vice president. I would love to see that debate. Imagine that debate between The Rock and Donald Trump. The Rock, like Donald Trump trying to attempt to say that The Rock is weak, and then as soon as The Rock would be like, Mr. President, what do you think about? And then the president would be like, all right. And he's like, no one cares what you think. Shut your mouth. I'm The Rock. Get out of here. The Rock would smash his podium. It would be hilarious. Imagine the president trying to loom or lurk behind The Rock. That would be sad. Oh, I didn't see Pets 2 with Kevin Hart. I do like The Secret Life of Pets. I thought that was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. God rest Louis C.K.'s soul for being a pervert. I went to Kevin Hart's show. I make joke about Louis C.K. I think he's gone away for good reason. I went to Kevin Hart's show with my mom. Her idea. Oh, listen. Don't blame... Listen, Kayleen, we know you wanted to see Kevin Hart. He's hilarious. She bragged about being the oldest person there. As a bunny. Yes, Kevin Hart as a bunny, as vice president. Thank you, Veronica. I just spilled water in my lap. That's how upset I am. Take to the streets, guys, if you can. Actually, cover your mask. Cover your face with a mask. Be sure that you're not exacerbating things like the president is currently. I think it's BS when someone's like, the president was in his bunker because of the protests outside. First of all, the protests that I was a part of, completely peaceful, totally serene. People angry, but no violence. People angry, expressing their anger and their upset and their demand for justice. However, no violence at all. Calm, peace. And at the same time, you didn't see that on the news, did you? You only saw the violence and the brutality that goes around. The instances, and you've seen them, the instances, many of them are only seconds long, 30 seconds, 40 seconds long of the violence. Some of them egregious, like when the president broke up the crowd out in D.C. the other day. But those are just moments, and we're losing sight of the movement. Yeah, the funny thing, I agree with you, Jimmy James, Cordova. Kevin Hart is hilarious. He's a funny, hardworking guy. I hope he has recovered well since his car accident. I know that he had a bad accident several months ago. He works hard, that guy. He may not be as big as The Rock. He may not even be as big as The Rock's little finger. But he has every bit as much heart in the Kevin version. Yeah, he's in his bunker. There's just no excuse. What would look different if you just come out and sincerely engage the people on the flat? But he flat out refuses. You're absolutely right, Charles. I'm telling you, you need to address your people. You are the leader of these people. You're not the guy on the other side of these people. You are the leader of all of the people. It's not you versus them. A lot of these police lines are setting up that it's literally a show of force against a peaceful group, like they're supposed to come head to head. We're all supposed to meet and air our grievances and show our upset with the system. These are the important things that we need to see. And I call BS and tell that the president has to do what the Secret Service says, because I knew a guy. Let me tell you a story. I knew a guy. He is since passed. His name is Jerry Parr. Jerry Parr is a national hero. I got to meet Jerry Parr because the drummer from my former band lived literally next door to him in Washington, D.C. I'll tell you a little bit about Jerry Parr. He was the head of Secret Service for several presidents. I think 6 presidents. From the early 70s to like the 90s. Jerry Parr is the guy shown in those pictures. You may not know this, but Ronald Reagan in 1982, I think it was, 1981, there was an assassination attempt on his life. He was shot by a man trying to impress Jodie Foster. This is all part of the story. The man who shot Ronald Reagan was trying to get Jodie Foster's attention. Because, you know, Jodie Foster is a revelation. She's Hollywood legend. But never mind that. The man is mentally ill. Hinckley, I believe his name is. The point of the story is that Jerry Parr was the man you see in the pictures, the head of the Secret Service, pushing Ronald Reagan into the limo. There's a series of shots, very famous photo, Jerry Parr. There's Ronald Reagan's waving. The next thing you know, he's shot. Jerry Parr is throwing Ronald Reagan into the limo. Despite your politics, Ronald Reagan, Republican, whatever, Jerry Parr was a national hero, served presidents regardless of their political affiliation. He served the country. He saved Ronald Reagan's life because he made the call. He was in that limo and they were en route to the hospital. They were en route to the White House. They were going to take the president back to the White House, which would have taken 15 minutes. But Jerry Parr said, no. After he inspected the president and saw that there was blood coming from the president, he said, I'm going to take the president right now to that hospital down at the end of the street, which is only 2 minutes away. And every doctor, by all accounts, said if the president had been bleeding or had been injured from another 15 minutes or so, he definitely would have died. So Jerry Parr is directly responsible for saving the life of Ronald Reagan. Good or bad? I mean, Ronald Reagan went on to do the trickle-down economics, whatever. But the point is, he saved the freaking president's life. I got to meet this man. On the day that Obama was inaugurated in 2008, because I went to that and I got to experience that, and that was a wonderful day. And I went, and at a party afterward, because he lived next door to my drummer, he was at the party and he's just standing there eating like carrots and broccoli, about 80 years old at the time, probably. And I just walked up to him and I said, hey, Jerry, it's not every day you get to talk to a national hero. This is when I met him. And then he just was eating his piece of carrot and he's chewing it. And he looked up at me and he said, you know, on that day. And then he explained to me the whole story that I just told you. He said, nobody knew, there was so much confusion. He went right into it. I was gripped. I was talking to this guy, and we chatted all night long because I was just enamored with this guy's heroism. He saved the president, head of the Secret Service, knew what to do in that moment when the president was shot. He said, we're not going to the White House. We need to divert to the hospital immediately. The president is in a dire need of help. And he saved him. We don't really know his name like we should. And Jerry actually told me that night that he would call every year, and I'm telling you guys this in confidence. He said that every year there was one other head of the Secret Service, the one that preceded him. And that head of the Secret Service who preceded him was present for John F. Kennedy's assassination. They were both in unique positions, the only two people living who were both the head of the Secret Service and witnessed to an assassination and or an assassination attempt while they were on the job. And the man who was there for the JFK assassination, he died recently as well. He died within the last 10 years. Was affected permanently for his whole life. He felt like a failure because he could not be there to save the president, but he did help Jackie Onassis, or Jackie Kennedy at the time. He did help the situation as best he could. He was there, he witnessed it, and he was permanently affected. To the point where Jerry and this man, I don't know his name, I'm sorry, but they would call each other every year on November 22nd or 23rd, the day that Kennedy was assassinated, and they would talk because it was just, they were the only two people on earth that were in a unique position to be protective of the president while there was actually gunfire. The reason I tell you this is because Jerry told me another story that night, which was hilarious. Jerry had to set up a perimeter along the Panama Canal because Jimmy Carter in 1970 something, 78, 79, President Jimmy Carter at the time, Jimmy Carter's still alive, by the way, one of the only living presidents. Jimmy Carter said, I would like to go down to the Panama Canal and address the folks in that region because it is part of American territory right now, and I would like to address the folks down there, and I want to talk to them. And Jerry Parr said, well, okay, well, that's going to be a tough job because what I'm going to have to do is set up a perimeter down the whole Panama Canal and make sure that we that everything's closed off, any kind of entryways. I need to get 5 Secret Service guys over here, 5 Secret Service guys over there on every port all the way down the river to make sure that we're protected from any kind of hostiles. Jimmy Carter said, okay. So they all get on this boat, and Jerry's there with Jimmy Carter and all of the Secret Service men, and they're traveling down the river, and it becomes night, and there's men all along the canal. They're just making sure that the president is protected. The president is protected, like the president in the bunker underneath the White House, cowering away from his own people. Trump was cowering, I can't say the word, it makes me so angry, away from the American people. Jimmy Carter was in a place where there could have been hostile combatants. But what happened that night was, as it got dark, and Jerry Parr was making sure that there was no ability for any type of sniper activity on the President of the United States by closing off all of these different ports, Jimmy Carter decided to make an impromptu speech by standing up on top of a box and shining a flashlight on his face while he addressed the crew members of the boat and gave like an impromptu 15-minute speech to talk to people. And Jerry Parr said at that moment, well, you just made yourself a human target by shining a light on your own damn face. You're on your own. And Jerry was like, I spent all that time creating a perimeter, making sure that you're protected, and you just shined a flashlight in your face and made yourself an easy target for anybody aiming for your head. And now I say that story because it is ultimately up to the president what the president wants to do. Jimmy Carter wanted in that moment to address the people and shine a flashlight on his face and potentially make himself a human target. If Trump wanted to walk out on the balcony of the White House and talk to the people with a freaking megaphone, he freaking could have done that. He doesn't do that. You know why? Because he's incapable. We should stop getting so mad at him because he's just not able to do it. It's like asking Kevin Hart to do a slam dunk. Sorry, Kevin Hart. You're going to get a brunt of a lot of jokes today. And I don't think he would be too mad at me saying that, but me and Kevin Hart are tight. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's like asking me to do a slam dunk. I can't do it. I wouldn't be able to do that. Don't get mad at me because I can't do it. We got to just kick the guy out of the White House because he can't do it. He can't do the job. It's clear. We have to stop getting mad at him for not being able. It's like getting mad at The Rock in Skyscraper by saying, hey, you should have 2 legs. It's just it's an unreasonable demand at this point. It's an unreasonable demand. Oh yeah. I could do a slam dunk when I was a kid, maybe, but not anymore. It's just an unreasonable demand to imagine that. But The Rock, I think, The Rock is such an entertaining, and I think he wants to do the right thing always. And I get it. He doesn't want to get into politics. He just wants to address people as a leader because he's a strong guy. He's like, listen, I'm lost right now. We're all lost. Where's our leader? Where are they? We just have a leader that doesn't say the buck stops here. The Rock says the buck stops here, but he doesn't mean like $1. The Rock means an actual giant megafauna, meaning like a large animal, a buck, a male deer. He says the buck stops here, where it tries to, like the antlers try to. The Rock is a human wall and can stop the buck. The buck stops here. Yeah, he can't do it. We've. Do you guys remember this? This is hilarious. When the first 3 months of the presidency or so, 6 months or the year or all of it, literally all of the presidency, people were like, "Oh, just give him a chance." We've given him a chance. He has failed at every chance. Time to leave. I'm not a fan of the current administration. I think it's important that we understand our failings as a culture instead of ignore them. If you ignore it, because we all feel stressed right now, we're like, and I get it. So many people are like, so many people don't want to acknowledge, and I get the complexity of this issue. Some people who feel like, well, I don't think I'm racist, or I don't feel like I've done anything to hurt people directly, black people or people who are marginalized. Some people are just like, I don't know if I've contributed to that, and I feel guilty, so I'm going to try to maybe like overcompensate right now and make sure that everybody that I know knows that I care. And firstly, I don't think these are the people to worry about. I think these people have done fine. But it's good for everybody to acknowledge maybe there are some places we can get stronger and places where we can unite better and understand each other more. But the problem in America has been that we just keep freaking forgetting about it. Or it's not that we're forgetting about it, it's just that we're pretending it doesn't exist. We keep sweeping it under the carpet. It's cyclical, and the reason it's cyclical is because it doesn't go away. It just fades into the background and then jumps right back into the foreground as soon as we're reminded of it. Because it's always there, and it's always been there. And I hope this moment is different. I hope this time it changes. Just know that it's literally been all of the years ever until now. Every year ever until now, because remember when America was great? No, nobody does. America is on a journey to greatness. We have great ideas and great ideals and great things to aspire to, but we've never achieved it. And that's the beauty of America, because we constantly work to get there for a more perfect union. It never said we're a perfect union. We want to get a more perfect union. We want to get closer to our ideals, because practice is played by F. Murray Abraham in the movie Last Action Hero. Practice. We need to practice good habits. We need to pretend that the things are. We need to stop pretending that institutional racism doesn't exist. It's just a fact. And I've literally lived my whole life as a brown person. The Rock, however, has lived his whole life as one of the moons of Jupiter because he's giant, very strong. I've lived my whole life as a brown person, so I see it, and then it makes you feel a little crazy and gaslighty. You're like, wait, is this really happening? Am I just gonna have to tolerate this forever? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much you tolerate this stuff. You just see it. It just exists. You get used to it. It becomes normal, and you go, okay, well, this is just the way things are, and I guess I'll just have to tolerate it. It's like when people say, oh, well, my grandfather is super racist, but, he's from, like, a different time. My grandfather's from a different time. No, your grandfather was from a different time, and now your grandfather is from now. And he needs to get with the time. Your grandfather is from now. Stop with that bull stuff. I'm going to talk like Eddie Murphy making fun of Bill Cosby. Get rid of that bull stuff. The Bambi stops here. Bambi. Oh my God, that's right. K-Ferg is talking about when The Rock parodied Bambi on SNL, which was hilarious, guys. Very funny sketch. Google that. We got to stop pretending. I keep saying pretend. We have to stop pretending that this isn't real. There's so many times I get a little skeptical because I'm like, so what I'm seeing from my perspective is one thing, but I don't know what other people are saying to each other. I don't know how, honestly, it feels weirdly divided right now because I don't know what white people say to each other. I just know what they say to me. Are you okay? How are you doing? I'm great. I mean, it's the same. Things are the same. I'm glad everybody's starting to notice it. I'm glad everybody's starting to come together over this. But I don't know what people are thinking and what they're feeling. I'd like to know. But it's a weird situation to be in because I'm like, okay, now everybody notices this is... Many things can exist at the same time. Two ideas can exist at the same time. Like I was saying earlier, you can have a pandemic where you're supposed to stay home, but you can also be so outraged where you don't. And you have to figure out the middle ground. You have to figure out how to reconcile those two things. And some people think that, listen, social change is way more important than perhaps my own health at this moment. And I don't know whether to feel... So what I'm saying is I do feel grateful that people are showing up. I do feel grateful that people of the majority, that people who have been traditionally privileged in American society, I'm talking specifically about America, people who have been benefiting from the system, perhaps unwittingly, it's not necessarily their fault at all that they're benefiting from the system, just like it's not black people's fault that they're not benefiting from the system. It's the system. So what exists at the same time is I'm very grateful everybody showed up. I'm really happy, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, really now? It's like hundreds of years. You're like several hundred years of this stuff going on, and now it's starting to occur to people. So those two ideas exist in the same time in my head, which I like to make this analogy. I'm like, listen, I'm really angry that you showed up late to my party, but I'm also very delighted that you brought cupcakes. So those two things exist at the same time. I'm glad you're here. You're very late, but I do like a confetti cake. Thank you so much. I'm happy, but also not happy at the same time. And I'm just waiting for that to dissipate so that we can actually move forward. And I understand it's a complex emotion. It's a complex way of feeling right now. But I don't know, man and women. and boys and girls and people of neutral gender. Like, I don't know. Who knows? I'm just like The Rock in that in order to get fiber, I go to Sequoia and eat one of those giant redwood trees, one of those giant sequoia trees. I just take a bite out of the side of it. Chew on that. No, I'm like The Rock in that I don't know where our leader is right now. We all have to be leaders now. All of us, we have to overcome certain things in ourselves. I was talking to a friend, and little things like this. I was talking to my friend, and he says that he's got a loved one, a relative, an older relative, and they say, you know, he doesn't feel that this person is racist in any way. However, they use the N-word, but they use it as a kind of a point to illustrate a point. And they say that every culture has an N-word. Every culture has an N-word. And I said to my friend, he was expressing the thought, and I get it, and I understand the concept of that. However, I disagree with it because it's not right. Little things we can do like this. I said to my friend, I said, you know what? You can gently remind your loved one not to say the N-word, but use the appropriate term, which is scapegoat. Every group has a scapegoat. Every group has a group of people that they can put all their problems onto or let all of the things happen to and then just protect themselves and just say, well, it's all their fault. It's called scapegoating. It's an actual term. It comes from the Bible. If you're into that, if you like Bible shit, it comes from the Bible. You don't want to be the scapegoat. That's actually sacrificial lamb, scapegoat. All these things come from tradition. We can be gentle and do these things and actually help correct people, and it's hard because you feel uncomfortable and you're like, well, I don't really want to tell them. They're from a different time. Well, times now. Times are changing. Times are a-changing. Hopefully. It's hard for us, brown and black folks and stuff, to go, it definitely does feel real, guys. This all feels real for all of us right now. We're all feeling this impact. We're feeling just the wave of just complete despair and helplessness when we watch that video of George Floyd being murdered. And it's just completely indefensible. There's no way to say that. I think that this point is unique. This point in history is unique because every other time this happens, because I hate to say it, it keeps happening, and it has kept happening. And I don't know why this moment is different. I hope it's different. But the only thing I can try to think of why this moment is different is because it was so indefensible. So many times people try to twist their brain into a brain pretzel, into a mental gymnastic, and they try to say, we got about a minute and 20 left on Instagram, sorry. If you guys want to hop over to AristotleFullThrottle.com, we could finish up the discussion. AristotleFullThrottle.com. And then when the address bar comes up, just type /live. Yeah. Well, there's all these little things we can do. It's very upsetting to watch that. It's very upsetting to know it. But every other time, everybody's like, well, the person, they should have just stayed on the ground. Well, if they had not committed crime, well, they were a potential criminal. No, this dude was potentially writing a bad check. And why was he writing a bad check? Because maybe he didn't have money in his account. And why didn't he have money in his account? Because we're in a freaking pandemic. And president and everybody, the leadership is telling us we can't do anything. We don't have any money. This is all stems. It all goes up the chain. if you're getting mad at looters and rioters or ne'er-do-wells, the people, the few and far between, if you're getting mad at them, you need to check yourself and go, how did we get here? You need to go back 10 steps and say, why did we end up with looting? Because there's a problem that goes back. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend. It's just us, guys. I'm going to try to share this to IG's TV. I don't know. You guys feel me on this? I'm still trying to just work out my thoughts, and I thank you guys for watching, because right now it's just really, it's hard to figure out what's going on. It's hard to figure out our thoughts right now. And I appreciate you guys helping me find my own thoughts right now. There's no time for guilt right now. There's no time for feeling guilty. What we need to do is feel empowered. Okay, Ferg, and I know everybody's feeling something right now. And I know if you're feeling guilty, feel that feeling. If you're feeling whatever you're feeling, feel that feeling. That's the quote, the direct quote from me. If you're feeling whatever you're feeling, feel that feeling. You're welcome. Because it's valid. Nobody knows how to feel right now. Nobody knows what to feel. So everything that you're experiencing, totally valid. There's never been a time you can't question these emotions. Just let them come, but use your personal power, your energy, use it as fuel. Use it as a way to connect with other people, because we're all experiencing weird waves of emotions. Yes, I agree with you, V. We need to come together. The time is now. If you truly believe in equality, if you truly believe that this is something that every human being deserves equality, deserves an equal chance, if you believe that, if you truly believe that, well, now's the time. Put it into practice. If you believe that and you don't believe that the country is unfair, it's going to be very difficult to get you to see that if you're not black or brown. If you think the system works fairly, there's a difference between whether or not it should work fairly. It's whether it does work fairly, and it doesn't currently. The idea of the justice system is beautiful, but the execution, so to speak, the execution, and I'm going to use that word, the execution of people in the streets, the execution of people. If you're afraid of the cops, something's wrong. That's not the kind of country we live in. I mean, it's becoming that way, but we could stop it by really spreading a good message, a positive message. I feel all over the place today, but it's been a rough week. I have been all over the map emotionally. It's hard. I will be overcome with emotion suddenly. I'll watch these demonstrations of people showing defiance, showing their unity, showing their awareness that this world is not fair, that this country is not fair, the system is not fair. If you think it's perfect, you're not doing it. You're not seeing that it's a journey to be perfect. It's a journey every day to get less and less disparate. We need to come together. We need to figure it out. We need to understand each other. We need to talk to each other. We need to share our experience, and we need to. It's hard to be believed, and I know this is also, women have had this problem, especially with like sexual assault and harassment. People are just like, well, that's just the way, they're just a good old boy. They're just that's just how they are. That's just Handsy McFeely. He likes to touch things, so watch out. F that. If you're feeling something, if you feel violated, if you feel that things are unfair, you can express that. And I think it's better to listen and understand and try to put ourselves in those shoes and try to see how we got there rather than dismiss it. And I feel like black and brown folks keep getting dismissed over and over again. We get dismissed. Rodney King, man. Rodney King was I remember Nelson Mandela just getting thrown in prison in South Africa. I remember that was like the first awareness that, things are, I don't remember him getting thrown in prison. I remember him coming out of prison going, wait, he spent 27 years in prison because he was just like, I don't like that there's racism and segregation. Like, he spent 27 years in prison for that. Are we getting there? Are we getting that bad? I hope not. The Rock will break him out. We got off the Rock topic. But right now, guys, I want to reveal to you, look underneath your feet. We've been standing on top of the Rock's left bicep this whole time. You didn't see that, did you? You guys can smell what the Rock's cooking. Hey, if you guys are here on the YouTube, make sure you like the video. That helps with the algorithm, helps get discovered. We're going to have a giveaway on this channel. PS5, because it's hard to find. It's really hard to feel what's important right now. I mentioned the giveaway. I mentioned all this stuff. I would talk about The Rock, but it's so hard not to talk about what's going on in the world right now. It's so hard not to express to you and hear you guys. It's so hard not to listen to what you guys are thinking and feeling. It's existential. We're having an existential crisis as a country. And as people, as individuals, everybody is suffering from like the anxiety of a pandemic. And at the same time, there's an existential crisis for black people in America going, we get shot at, we get killed in the street. How many of your friends can, like of your friends, who's afraid of that happening to them? It really should tell you a lot about the system. It should tell you that something exists. If anything, if you deny the existence of this, if you think it's all just make-em-ups, why is it that a woman in Central Park calls the cops on a man who's annoyed with her because she's not following the rules of the park? She's the one actually committing the offense, whether it's ticketable, whether it's illegal, it doesn't matter. It's just annoying. And the dude's like, listen, put your dog on a leash. She gave the dog back, by the way. Put the dog on a leash. The dog is scaring away the birds. I'm a bird watcher. These birds are rare. This is a protected area for these types of birds so that they can come back. We don't want to scare them away so that they don't keep... The guy has like legitimate reasons why he thinks he should say something to this woman. And we all saw the Coopers. The man is also named Cooper. The woman's named Cooper. No relation. We watched that video and the woman gets on the phone and starts calling the cops and pretending to be scared of this man while she's dangling her dog by its collar. We can already see the level of compassion this woman has. The level of empathy. It's if it isn't real to you, Why would she do that? If systematic racism wasn't real, why would she rely on acting scared of a African American man as something? Why would she rely on that as a way to threaten him? Because she knows that the system is messed up and she's taking advantage of it. That's the only conclusion you can draw from that. The only conclusion I can draw from that. If you want to try to explain it some other way, well, good luck on that. Sounds like you have a vivid imagination. Let's talk about concrete evidence. She's behaving in a way that she knows will get the cops' attention, and it's essentially a death threat to the man. He's asking her to please put her dog on a leash. She's calling the cops on him and saying that she's being threatened. Who knows? The cops could show up with guns. The cops can see him with his camera gear and his equipment and think he's got a weapon. These are all things that people have to think about, and they shouldn't have to think about. The Rock is so strong that he uses an I-beam as a Q-tip. He takes an actual entire sheep, puts it on the end of an I-beam, and cleans out his ears. That's how strong he is. Alf for reals. We're reliving the entirety of the 1900s in 2020. First the pandemic, then the Great Depression. Now halfway through, it's the Civil Rights Movement. Hopefully by August, it'll be Summer of Love. Oh, I feel that, Alf for reals. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. If we just decided to all become hippies and run around listening to concerts, run around naked with flowers in our hair, that would be a wonderful time. That's the utopia we should aim for. Yes, Al, for reals, this president has managed to compress a century's worth of problems within one term. Within a few months. We're not doing okay, guys. We're in trouble. If you don't know that we're in trouble right now, then, keep on drinking your Kool-Aid. Yes, Popcorn Passport, she is straight up saying, look, I could have the cops here and the cops could potentially murder you because guess what? The cops can show up on a potential forgery investigation for a guy writing a bad check because he doesn't have any money and he wants food. Guys, it's like Jean Valjean. Except Jean Valjean got to live. What's worse that she knew he was being recorded. Yeah. What's even worse, K-Ferg, is that sorry. I try not to curse on this show because it's like it affects your potential monetization. But this police officer, this murderer, the main murderer of the four murderers, the one who is like dealt the lethal assault. I mean, they're all complicit. But that one murderer knew he was being recorded as well and was just having a casual conversation while killing a man. Can you wrap your freaking mind around that? And people wonder why black folks are wary of the cops. People constantly justifying the cops. It's like, oh, there's a few bad apples. Let's then get rid of the freaking bad apples. I saw a good analogy when they keep saying it's a few bad apples with these few police officers who happen to be murderous, racist police officers. Someone was saying, I've got an entire orchard filled with apple trees. All right? There's a few bad ones in there. They'll kill you. But go ahead, have fun, pick them. Go pick some apples. Would you want to go to that orchard and pick those apples? We just got a few bad apples that will definitely murder you. But, yeah, have fun. Go pick those apples. Just a few. I don't know. They're in there somewhere. And you'll definitely die. But enjoy. It's okay. It's my orchard. Listen, what do you want me to close down my orchard? Yes. I want you to freaking find all the bad apples in your orchard and get rid of them. I want you to find out what's making bad apples and get rid of them. I want you to fix the problem. Yes. Your few bad apples. I'm getting a little hangry. I haven't had food in a day because I got to go shopping or order food. I don't know what it's going on anymore. Maybe I can order food from protesters. Maybe I'll go to a protest and maybe they'll be handing out food and I'll eat some of that and show my support, but also quell my hunger. Yeah, I know it's not the usual Aristotle Full Throttle this week. We're just feeling feels. We're figuring things out. We're trying to understand our thoughts. We're trying to understand everyone else's thoughts. Again, I'm happy everybody's involved. I'm happy people are jumping on board. But you know what? Some people, you're late to the party, but you did bring a delicious pudding pie. And I'm happy about the pie. I'm happy that you brought a delicious snack. A pecan pie is my favorite pie. I'm very delighted because it's my favorite pie, and I'm glad that you thought of me. But you are freaking late, and I wish you had been here this whole time. But I will eat the pie. I will eat that pie. Yeah, K-Ferg, that's a good point. A few bad apples spoils the bunch. Boy, is that true. I'll tell you what, I got a bag of apples a couple times on these orders of food when they deliver my food. And yeah, you get one bad apple and they're all squished together and then turns them all bad. Few bad apples spoils the bunch. The Brady Bunch. I'm rambling and I appreciate you guys sticking around for it. I know we love to talk about movies. But the world is in such a weird state of disarray. Movies are great because they have happy endings usually. And right now we're in the middle. We're at the midpoint of the movie where we're like, what's happening? What are we even doing? How are we going to get out of this? We're questioning our reality. And I get that for a lot of people who haven't experienced systemic racism might be like, oh my God, how have I not seen this my whole life? It's like, well, because it hasn't directly affected you. And part of me is like, well, damn it. Well, why haven't you been paying attention to all of the times that people have said this has been happening to them and all of the times we see it on TV? I saw Rodney King on TV when I was a kid. Rodney King was on the TV getting beat over and over again. We saw that as kids. And I thought that was the moment. That was the moment we recognized it. But it's not. It's just one of the many times that it keeps happening. And you know what else keeps happening? The cops get off because they're protected. There needs to be better training. There needs to be better people in the police force, period. There's ways to weed out bad apples. 54 strikes. 54 strikes when the man was on the ground already. George Floyd, incapacitated, handcuffed, being sat on and choked out by the man's knee. I see it. I see it as clear as day. In my head, it's an image we can't erase. That's why I think this moment is a little bit different. That's an image we cannot erase. Rodney King is like, oh, it's grainy footage, and this is just clear as day and high definition from just yards away. People begging the police to stop. People doing everything they can, videoing it, yelling at the police, get off him, check his pulse, please get off him, that's enough, that's enough. The man himself begging for his life. I can't even imagine what he is thinking in that moment. We have to do George Floyd and everyone before him. We have to do them justice. This is what I'm concluding, ladies and gentlemen. We can't let that happen. We can't let this guy die and not have it change everything. What is that? I feel bad because I saw the video and thought, oh, it's going to be another incident that is seen for a week. Yeah. Yeah, man. Popcorn pass. That's the thing. It's like, I'm glad that people aren't letting this one just go away with all the rest of them. How many times do we see it on the news? We're just desensitized to it. We see it over and over again. We see the people, black people, dying at the hands of police. Black people who are innocent, unarmed, killed. What does that mean? What does that say? Like, I don't know. I wish I had answers. I just have thoughts on it. I just have all these thoughts that are coming and going and coming back again. And I hear more and more, and there's just no defending it. There are people who are quiet right now that shouldn't be. I'm just a YouTubing guy. I'm on Twitter, all about Instagram, all things. But I also happen to be brown and in America, and that's my experience. I've been pulled over because I had braids down to my shoulders, driving while black or brown. You get pulled over. You get questioned. Where are you going? Where are you coming from? I mean, that's standard procedure, but I don't know. I just trying to find any more thoughts I might have on this, and I don't know anything. I don't know anything. But The Rock, he said it pretty good today. It's not like a perfect speech, but it's just a plea to find, and I don't think he's just specifically talking to the president, the current president. I think he's looking out there for all of us. He's asking who is out there who will take the lead and rediscover who America is. Yeah, people are being silent. Too many people are being silent. Too many people are saying, well, all lives matter. Yeah. Black lives matter, too. Like, nobody's sitting here saying all lives don't matter. What we're specifically saying is Black lives matter, because by saying all lives matter, you're again trying to diminish the role of this entire movement. You're trying to make it go away. You're trying to turn your head the other way and say that, oh, it doesn't exist. Listen, all lives matter. Not just black lives. It's like, well, in the United States, it's been proven over and over again that the system does not care about black people. To quote Kanye West, George W. Bush does not care about black people. Anyway, that was a funny moment. It's just been proven over and over and over and over again that the system does not value blackness. It is not treated equally if you are black. You are not treated equally. When you sit there and say all lives matter, you're just going, what's a good analogy for this? I don't know. Like a rising tide lifts all boats. When you say like all lives matter, maybe that's your sentiment, that's your idea, but it's like there's a boat that's sinking right now. We need to bail water on that boat. And that's the Black Lives Matters boat. If you're like, that boat is sinking in the harbor, but a rising tide lifts all boats. Rising tide lifts all boats, but that boat's still sinking. We need to prioritize that boat, bail the water out on that boat, patch the hole on that boat, and all get back on an equal playing field, which there is not one. There is no equity. There's no equality. Yeah, popcorn passport. I feel you on that. It's like saying, so what? Doesn't matter. Blue lives matter. What are you talking about? Nobody's talking about that. We're talking about a system that is broken that allows for this injustice to perpetuate. And I got news for you. It's never not been racist. The system. Racism is a structural thing. It's not an individual thing. When people are like, black people are racist against white people sometimes. No. Racism is when there's a majority group that particularly subjugates a minority group. The folks who are privileged and in power can be racist against folks, a marginalized group. Doesn't really work the other way around. If there's a system that's racist, it means it works better for one group than another. It selects for white people in our society. And it's not your fault that it selects for you, white folks. It's not your fault. But it's also not black people's fault that it's against them. We need to figure it out. It's the system's fault. It's the way the system has been built and works and doesn't work, actually. It's the way the system doesn't work. People the days keep changing. My thoughts keep evolving. My feelings come and go. But be strong, It's hard to talk about movies right now. It really is. It's hard to talk about entertainment. I want to get back to that. I want to get back to where we could just sit there and debate Star Wars and the merits of Star Wars. I want to get back there. But I don't think this time is the time for that. I think we can share. If we get excited about something, let's talk about it. If we get excited about some news and the movies, or let's talk about it. If it's genuinely what's driving us. And right now, what's genuinely driving me is outrage and upset. And I want there to be a change, and I don't know how that change is going to happen. If I think of anything, I'll let you know. If you guys think of something, let me know. Let's talk about The Rock. Yeah. What we need are more people out there who are... I think The Rock, I joke about him running for president, but I think he's doing a great job as he is. Oh my God, it's 1:30. Holy crap. I need to go get food, but I'll leave you with this. I think The Rock is fantastic, and I think he should maintain his role as an inspiring figure and not be corrupted by politics. I think he needs to go out there and say things. I think people need to be like The Rock. It's funny because The Rock doesn't even use a megaphone. He just talks, and then everyone can hear it. I'd vote for him too. I think though he should stay free of the politics and just talk to the people directly and inspire people through modeling, through good behavior. If people look at The Rock and they go, this guy is saying the right things, he's doing the right things, he's being good, he's being genuine. Let's look to people like this in our society for leadership. Let's look to ourselves like The Rock has called upon us to do. And when The Rock asks you to do something, you do it. The Rock asks you to smell what he's cooking. You say that is garlic. There's a lot of garlic what you're cooking, The Rock. And I appreciate garlic. I like it. You got to do... Let's take that upon ourselves and be little leaders in our lives and do the best we can. And there's always times where we feel we're hearing someone say something racially insensitive, and we kind of shrug it off and say, oh, well, whatever. It's just part of my day, and listening to people say stuff like that. It's powerful. I think it's important that we call people out on that, but it's hard when you're black or brown. But if you're, I guess, white and you hear someone else who's white saying something that's definitely hateful or racist or insensitive, try and call them out on it gently. Say something to help correct them a little bit, maybe correct the course on that, because they think that there are people in this world that think there are two sets of rules. They'll talk to their folks. They'll talk to, the white folks, and then say, I'm going to say this only to white people, but then if there's a black or brown person present, I will adjust my language and make sure that I don't say certain things, because I know that the dynamic has changed and I can't be my true self necessarily around people who are black or brown or marginalized, because obviously it's not politically correct or whatever it is. But guess what? We can feel that. We know when you're pulling punches. We know it. So you're not fooling anybody. It's pretty obvious when you're like, oh, I get it. You're racist in private, and you just want to pretend you don't want to be racist now. You're not fooling anybody. Just so you know. So maybe if you change your thinking and your beliefs and work on those, or at least educate yourself, because if you educate yourself, your beliefs and your thinking will change. And you will realize that, oh, I shouldn't sit there and have two sets of conversations all of the time. I shouldn't be hiding my racism amongst white people as if they should just automatically be fine with it. But be the Rock you want to see in the world. That is the answer. Sorry that I was not in top form today. It's been a trying week. I'm very exhausted. I'm very hungry. I smell what The Rock is cooking. And it's literally the entire state of New Jersey. The Rock is hungry. Feed The Rock. The Rock drinks the Salton Sea as a cocktail. It's like, I will drink the sea. Oh, yeah, the Black Friends thing is hilarious. People should realize that they have friends and stop saying, I have black friends. You have friends. Stop with the different sets of rules. Among these friends, I will say these racist things, and whenever these people are present, I will not say those racist things. You got to check yourself. Check yourself if you're in that mindset. If you're like, well, I can't say all of the things I usually say because there's a brown person here. Guess what? The brown person senses that. Always. We get it. And in America, it's kind of funny because you'll just be at a party and you're like, oh, this guy, I get it. He's normally racist and he's trying not to be racist around me right now, but it's painfully obvious. Guys, you're not hiding anything. It's just annoying and it's unspoken and we all just go along with it. We all just go along with it. Why? It's annoying as all get out. Yeah, I think when you do, good point, K-Ferg. When you shave Chuck Norris's beard, it's only The Rock could shave Chuck Norris's beard. I think also we should talk about Bruce Lee because guess who literally broke Chuck Norris's neck? Bruce Lee did. What was that Enter the Dragon, Return of the Dragon? It's a good movie. It's a good movie. All right, guys, I'm tuckered out. Sorry I don't have the energy that we all have, but I'm having a day. And I appreciate we had a lot of viewers today. I tried to get my thoughts all in one bucket. I did the best I could. And we'll all have to do the best we can every day, little by little. I appreciate you guys. You've got a friend in me. The Rock wrote that song. Remember that song for Toy Story? He wrote that. He wrote that with his calf muscle. It's literally tattooed on his calf muscle. The Rock gets tattooed, but with like machine guns. They actually use a squid to tattoo The Rock. A giant squid. Yeah, I'm going to go get some food. Good point, K-Ferg. All right. I've gone 37 minutes over. But I appreciate you guys sticking around. This has been great. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Stay out of trouble. Show your support if you can and if you want to, if you believe in this movement. Just back it. Show your support. Do what you can little by little to help the situation improve. I think we can. I'm Aristotle, Full Throttle, your bro in the know with the fro. And